All right. I think we're just getting everything rolling here. I'm Crystal Sayers from New Beginnings Health and Wellness. And if you're brand new to my channel, welcome, welcome. For those of you who are visiting again, thank you so much for being here with me tonight. And I'm super excited to share with you a couple of techniques that you will be able to use to help initiate your body's healing processes, decrease pain, stress, hopefully sleep better as well. So, these two techniques can help with many things. And I often share different techniques on different nights. And so tonight I have a couple different ones I'm going to share with you. And yeah, if you're new here, let me know, where are you watching from? How's everybody doing? And we're going to get this show on the road here in just a moment, just as people are popping on. And I'm just getting everything set up on my end here too. So thank you for your patience. Moment, just as people are popping. There we go. All right. Okay. Hello, Trish. Hello, hello. So, for those, if you're brand new to YouTube and you want to comment, I've had people who've had struggles with commenting. I believe you have to create a channel. So, it doesn't mean you have to become a YouTube, sensationist or sensationalist. There we go. But you will need to create a channel that gives you access to being a commenter on YouTube. And then on top of that, if you look on your, depending on whether you're on your phone or on your laptop, you'll see it, in the chat area at the top, it'll say top chat, and you can click live chat. So if you click the little down arrow where the top chat is on the live chat, it will actually give you everybody's, it'll show you everybody's comments. Hello, Roseanne. Hello, hello. Lovely to see you here. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Okay, so we are live, and as promised, I'm going to teach you a couple techniques tonight, and you can share them with your friends, with your family. So this is just absolutely lovely to have you here. Hi, Janice. Okay, so I just want to share a little bit with you about some of the ways that healing can work, energy healing can work. Um, so, just to begin with, I'll share a couple stories with you. So, for myself, for those, if you don't know me, when I came into energy work, it was 2020, and I was exhausted, burnt out. I was in chronic pain. I had moved and downsized to a basement as my former husband and I had to start over due to some other medical things that were going on. And so that we were in a period of starting over. And so when the lockdowns took place, that was my opportunity to go back to school, to change my career. My background is mostly in social work types of jobs. And so everything from humanitarian work to working with those in addiction, those in homelessness, those coming out of sexual exploitation, special needs. So quite a wide gamut, and a lot of people who with high stress and a lot of trauma as well. So yeah, so that's kind of where I started, and I came into Body Talk, which I absolutely love, and I still use to this day. I love Body Talk, and I use some other modalities as well, like Akashic records and addressing some past life types of things. And I do intuitive readings, and so quite a wide range of things. But the work that I love to do is really to help empower people to be able to heal themselves, to take hold of the reins. And so sometimes, we're at the end of our rope and not sure what to do. And I found myself in a recent situation like that where I'm like, okay, what is going on? So something physically going on, and I'm looking at resolving it. And if we can understand the connection that the body has to our belief systems, to our emotions, to our energy body, we might dig a little deeper than just looking at what's going on physically. And so a lot of the work that I do is helping to address belief systems and emotions and things that are trapped within the body. Our belief systems keep our bodies locked in to behaving a certain way, or functioning in a certain way, So if we can shift things at a higher level consciously in terms of beliefs, emotions, attitudes, conditioning, things like that, then that frees the body up to be able to function in a healthier way as well. So the work that I do is very much kind of all encompassing. So we're looking at the body, the mind, and the spirit of the person. Hi, Kathy. Great to see you here. Okay, so what I want to do is I just want to give you a little bit of an update. So some of you have been following along with a couple stories. I have many, many stories, and some of the healings that have been taking place over the last while have been very profound. And one of those was a gentleman, which you might have heard, a gentleman who was not even here in Canada. He's in another country. Um, and he had low body paralysis for 3 months. So in October, all of a sudden woke up one day and had no mobility, no feeling, no sensation in his lower body. And he had surgery on his thoracic spine, and there were other several complications, medical complications, including heart stuff. So he was not able to do sort of the typical rehab that you would do to get the body moving again. And so they were looking for alternative opportunities to be able to do some healing work. And so a client of mine referred this person to me. And after the first session, within 3 days, he was able to just like wiggle his toes with a little bit of control. So he was able to start doing that. Now, so I think we're about 6 weeks in or so. I've done 3 sessions on this person, and each time they've had more mobility. They're now starting rehabilitation, so like physio type stuff, they're able to do more movement. They are able to sit for longer periods of time. So this person was completely immobile, and they can bring their legs up to up toward their chest. So they're able to, move around quite a bit more, which is amazing. Like truly, truly a miracle. And so much of this, again, goes back to not just addressing something physically, but addressing things energetically, mentally, emotionally. So in the session, I shared what came up through a recording, and the person who was doing the interpreting, because they speak another language, they actually were confirming many of the things that had been coming up as needing to be witnessed or seen. So we're connecting different parts of the body together in terms of how it's communicating. So sometimes a person might come with knee pain, but their issue or the priority of the body for healing might actually be like their neck. And the knee pain could be just one of several symptoms that the person may be experiencing. And when we address the underlying issue of stress or feeling at dis-ease, anything like that, then we actually can experience healing on a much, much deeper and longer term level. And that's what I love about this work. And there's no extra supplements to take, none of that sort of stuff, right? Which is just absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to just share with you a couple of these techniques. We're going to do them. And then I'm hoping, I was trying to set things up so that I could have somebody actually join me on video. The rules with or the ways of YouTube, I'm still learning some of the bits around having people join me. So anyway, so I'm hoping to have that sorted out. Before we get started, I just want to share with you really quickly about a course that I'm launching. I'm launching it live the end of the month in March. So March 29th to April the 4th, excluding March 30th. It's called the Intuitive Code Course, Unlock Your Hidden Power to Make Life-Changing Decisions. And this course I have put and I am putting a lot into it in terms of what you'll get. So if you're interested, maybe I'll pop the link. You can go on my website. It's right there. And it's only $50, you guys. Like it's $50.78 with with the full payment by the time you do the processing fees and stuff like that. And it's worth well over like $1,200 to $1,600. I'm not kidding. And so you're going to get a lot of value. If you want to really develop your intuition in your business, or you need some intuitive creativity, relationships, fostering better connections in relationships using your intuition. I mean, this is going to be so powerful. And not only that, but also improving your health and well being. So it's like really getting the stumbling blocks out of the way, moving through things where we've had been so conditioned, and learning how our intuition speaks to us on a deeper level, and like really consciously going into that space. This is just going to be such a great course, and it's going to be for an hour every day at 2 p.m. MST. And like I said, it's $50. So I've made it that way because I want to make it really easy for anybody, because I feel like we just have so much external noise that we need to learn to go inward. We really need to connect with our higher self. We really need to connect with our authentic self. And this is really going to empower you to really take that next step and do that. Make a great gift for somebody. So if you can't attend live, that's okay. The videos will be available. That's part of like a lifetime thing, and 100% money back guarantee. So there's no risk. Anyway, you can go onto my website, www.newbeginningshw.ca, and I'll post the link in the chat later. But you can go to my website and check it out. All the details are there, and it's super easy to hop in and to do this. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so for tonight, hi Kathy, lovely to see you here. Hi, hi, hi. Okay, so for tonight, I want to just teach the first technique I'm going to teach is you're basically you can use 2 or 3 fingers, and at the base of your skull, you have these. It's hard to kind of like show you, but at the base of your skull, if you feel there, you'll feel kind of like the bone on either side, right at the base of the skull, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your 2 fingers, and you're going to press into the one side. You're not going to do both at the same time. Do it separately. So this technique resets the vagus nerve. That's what it does. So it puts the body into relaxation. So you might even feel some sensations, yawning, different things like that. So you're going to take those 2 fingers, you're going to press it into one side, and then you're going to push it in toward the middle of your skull. Okay. So it's okay to add a little pressure. You don't want to be in pain, but it might feel tight there. So you're just going to, so I'm just going to like pull this back. I don't know if you can see this. So I'm putting my finger here and then pushing in and toward the inner spine. So you're going to feel a little bit of pressure there, a lot of pressure. Just take a couple deep breaths. So you're going to hold this for about 30 seconds. Makes me feel like I want to yawn. Excuse me. Yawning is a good sign of releasing. So you might feel tingling. You might have a different sensations actually moving through your body depending on what's happening. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to, and just opposite side. So again, pressing into kind of the bone. It's a little bit tender. It'll be a little tender there, right? Like, because you got a little bit on the skull there. And then just again, pushing that in toward the skull, or toward the spine, sorry. Couple deep breaths. So you add pressure and then push it in. And you'll actually feel like, because there's muscles that run down in there. So you should feel that sort of like a little bit like, oh, that feels probably a little tight. So this is great for people who have migraines as well. Couple deep breaths. And just relax. Okay, so just type in the chat. What did you notice? How did that feel? Just tune into your body. How does your body feel when you do that? For me, I feel like I'm just yawning. So my body is releasing tension. And again, that's helps to reset that vagus nerve, which is, it's connected to our whole nervous system. Beautiful. Yawning, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Very common. Yawning is a good one. You might have to go to the bathroom. You might feel little tingles. You might have tummy gurgles when you're doing this kind of work. These kinds of things can get all kinds of things moving energetically. Okay. Whew. Still shifting. Feels good. So Trish says you felt it in your left knee. Right. Funny we're talking about knees, aren't we? And then we were talking about the neck. So this is again just a really interesting way to sort of quickly support our body. It's a great technique to just do a little bit of nurture, a little self-care. You could be doing this and nobody knows what you're doing, right? Is just pushing on that bottom skull bone, pushing it in and then moving in. Yeah, beautiful. Anybody else? Feel free to comment if you would like to let me know how that was for you. Muscles around your eyes are jiggling and yawning. Yeah. So this is interesting, right? Because our nervous system, our eyes, the eyes have muscles around them, right? So we've got these six muscles that hold the eyes in place that correlate to tension that we're holding within our body. So that's another really interesting one, isn't it? Aha. Yes. Love that. Awesome. Okay. So the next technique that I'm going to just share with you, some of you may or may not be familiar with, because again, I can't remember when I teach it. I just do what I feel inspired to do for the group that's here and for those who are watching later. So this will all still work. Even the demo sessions and things like that will still have an impact on anybody watching later who is receptive to it and wants to receive. Okay, so the next one, actually, speaking of Kathy, we're going to do this technique. So within Body Talk, but it's actually an osteopathy technique, and so this one is where you're going to take three fingers and you're going to hold it. Where so under the skull, right at the very very base of the skull, you'll feel kind of like you have a little bump underneath that. You're just going to put your three fingers there and we're referring to the C2 area of the spine. So you're not adding pressure, you're just putting your fingers there, okay? So this is a gentle, we're stimulating. And then the next part is you're actually going to hold three fingers over your eyes. So again, you're not pushing in, you're just stimulating the muscles that correlate to deep tension in the body. So this technique helps the body to relax, to reduce deep tension. Okay, so we're going to do that together. So that's what we're doing. We're going to be holding this side, and then once we're done, you're going to just move your fingers over to the other side. So the goal here with this one, as you do this, is many of you may feel your eyes fluttering. And it's interesting, Kathy, because it's like, that very thing can happen in this particular one. And that's all just connected to tension and things that we're holding. Plus, sometimes that we don't want, our eyes covered. So the other thing I'll say is if you have an astigmatism or anything like that, glaucoma, you just want to be like really gentle. So all we're doing, even just energetically, is you can just very gently just put your fingers over your eye without pressure. We don't want to cause any harm or damage, and this shouldn't. This is not if you're pushing too much, that's where you might hurt you. So you don't need to hurt yourself with this. So again, three fingers just at the base of the skull, right at the base of the skull. And all you're doing is you're setting your intention to connect with the C2 part of the spine. Okay. So then the other hand, there we go. The other hand is going to go over the eye just like this. And you're going to hold it for 30 seconds to a minute or until the fluttering stops. So if you have a lot of fluttering, that can happen on the first eye, and you're just going to take nice, big, deep breaths in and out. when you do this, you might feel your body kind of just go, oh, just kind of just goes into that relaxation. So at least 30 seconds or longer if you need to. You just take your time. You can keep your eye open or the other eye open or closed. It's up to you. And then when that movement stops, you're going to keep your hand on the back of the spine because we're not interrupting that. And you're just going to take those three fingers and you're going to put them over the eyes like this. And again, just holding for 30 seconds or until the fluttering stops. And you may not feel any fluttering. And if you don't, that's totally okay. Your body knows what to do. This is the beauty of these techniques is even if you're a mess or you're like dysregulated, your body naturally knows what to do by you just engaging with these techniques to support the de-stress mechanism. And just those nice deep breaths. And then when you're done, you can just bring your hands down. Just tune into your body now and just notice, how's your body feeling? I'm putting my glasses on because of blue light, not because I'm blind. So tell me in the chat, how did that feel to be doing that technique? All right. Roseanne says, okay, so this was about the technique before. I'm not sure if I put my fingers in the right place, but I'll keep practicing. So basically just go like right to the bottom of the skull where the bone is, where the skull bone is. You'll feel like it feels like two bumps on either side. And then all you do is basically you're pressing in. So you just go to the middle of that spot, the middle of that bump, the highest point of the bump on the skull, the base of the skull. Push in and then push inward this way. Okay. So just like that. Does that help? Yawning. Yeah. More yawning. This is great. I mean, these are super easy, quick techniques that you could do. These are great techniques for transitioning from, throughout the day. So you've been working all day, do this technique when you get to your car, as before you drive home. Like it helps our body to kind of just go, okay, we're transitioning now into something else, right? If you're really stressed at work, you can use these techniques. Just go in the bathroom, put the toilet seat down, sit there, do the techniques, and just allow your body to reset itself. So Trish says no fluttering, irritating at some point, better now. So irritating as in you felt like emotions being irritated or your eye felt irritated. Tell me a little bit about that. Who else? Anybody else want to just share? It's okay if you didn't notice anything. The more you do this, the more your body will just like your body will be like, oh yes, please. So as you practice these techniques, you're connecting with your intention and the physicalness of it, right? We actually don't touch our bodies very much. And so our body needs to be touched, right? Not just from another person, but by us, by just appreciating, nurturing, right? Like nurturing ourselves. So this is a beautiful way for us to engage and to appreciate and nurture our bodies in just a minute or two. Oh, so it was hurting your neck. So that's interesting. So it could be that you're getting so sometimes what can happen when we're doing these kinds of techniques. Okay, so you weren't pressing hard. Yeah, I figured you probably weren't pressing hard, but it felt irritating. So probably the irritation again, there's something there that is actually wanting to be released. And through the technique, you're actually probably releasing emotions, maybe beliefs are coming up. All kinds of things can actually come up while we're doing these little techniques because the body is holding, there's the book called The Body Keeps the Score. So the body's holding something. And so to acknowledge and to appreciate it, the other thing that happens when we do these energetic techniques is we're stimulating the flow of blood, nerve, lymph, right? Communication. All of this is about these ones were about releasing tension, resetting the vagus nerve, that kind of thing. So supporting the nervous system. So if you got some irritation or it felt irritating, that's not a bad thing. That actually is you're seeing something that was asking to be seen, and so we can just appreciate it. And the beautiful thing is your body knows what to do. But I have had people where say we're doing some work on the shoulder, and then all of a sudden they kind of have pain or it gets hot, and what's happening there is we're getting everything moving. So the blood, the nerve, the lymph is moving. And when that's happening, right, heat is being generated. And so that can happen because the person, so usually that won't last very long. It's just kind of getting things going so that the body actually can heal. But it might feel like a little bit of an inflammatory type of response. Yeah. Okay. So what else? Okay, so there seems to be, so Kathy says there's better circulation in your body. Yeah, so you're feeling things kind of circulating and moving. Beautiful. Roseanne says started feeling a bit of nausea. Okay, so maybe you're pressing a bit too much at the back of the skull. You could be. Sometimes, again, our bodies are releasing stuff, you guys, that we often have no idea about, like what we're feeling or what might be trapped. Nausea, can sometimes represent areas where we may actually feel an imbalance, right? So, and again, if you're pressing hard, you shouldn't press hard. The one for the vagus nerve, where it's like at the base of the skull, you do have to push in a little bit and then push in this way. It shouldn't hurt, but again, you're stimulating the relaxation of the vagus nerve. So if you've been like really tense or not even realizing it, we carry a lot of tension within this whole area here. If there is a lot of tension and then the body starts releasing tension, what happens? The stuff that's kind of like been stuck or trapped now is beginning to move. And so nausea can happen sometimes for people at different points. Again, it all depends. Everybody's body is different in terms of how it wants to respond. And yeah, so makes sense. Okay. What else? So Trish says, yeah, you have a super sensitive neck. People usually can't work on it. Yeah. So this is a way that you can work on it. If for some reason that is still really irritating, you could just place your hand just slightly above, and do it as if in your mind's eye while holding, the different parts. So even for me, by doing those two techniques, I feel the engagement of some things going on in my neck as well. So I feel the tension in the neck, right? But actually what's happening is we're getting things moving. And so the body is actually releasing tension, but it doesn't necessarily always feel that way initially. Um, yeah. So Trish says, yes, I agree. Yeah. Hello, South Europe vacations. Okay, so if there are there any questions about those techniques? You can feel free just to let me know if you have any questions. How often would you suggest that you do it? Whenever. The thing is it's not, these are no harm types of techniques, so you can do them as often as you need to. Um, I'd say like maybe once a day, but maybe trade off, like do one or the other, each day. I feel like I need to share with you guys one other technique. So this is interesting because this isn't something that I've learned somewhere, but I'm being prompted to do it. So right under your sternum, so right under the breastbone, right where your rib cage kind of comes in, just gently, just push in there a little bit, and just notice if it's uncomfortable, tight. For me, when I add pressure, it's tight, like it's quite tight. we hold a lot of our tension right here as well, right? In the gut, solar plexus area. So here's what I'm just being led to do. So you don't have to push hard or anything. I just want you just to push in just to notice, is it uncomfortable? And if it's really uncomfortable, it's your body again, this is where we hold a lot of tension there. So it's like, ooh, that's uncomfortable. So what you can do is just very gently rub there, okay? So just rub there and then you're going to tap over your head. This is like one of those like rub your belly and, you could even tap there, that's fine if it makes it easier. So you're going to tap over your left and right lobes. This is to engage brain activity and we're focusing the brain on this area here where we're holding a lot of tension. Okay, so just some nice deep breaths and you can either go like this, but just wide hands because you want over the left and right lobes. And you can just tap over that little area there. Just tap and take a couple deep breaths and just notice like what happens to your body. So this should be really gentle. It should not hurt. It's so gentle I'm barely touching my head. And the same with this little area right here. I forget what it's called, but just under the sternum anyway. So just do that for just a few breaths and then just tune into your body again. And what do you notice about your body, about your breath? What do you notice happening? So Roseanne says, yes, is tight and tender where the ribs meet. Yeah, we have a lot of, when a person, you were talking about the nausea, right? And I kept thinking sick to my stomach, right? It's like when we're sick to our stomach, it's like something doesn't feel good, right? So nausea is this kind of feeling sometimes of like an imbalance or like can't quite find my balance or my equilibrium. Yeah. So tell me what that felt like. For me, what I noticed, so I was doing the technique, so just tapping over my head and connecting this part here. And as I did it, yeah. So if you feel in, so that's interesting, right? Less tender. It's a little less tight. Just by gently just tapping. We're kind of like waking things up a little bit. And by doing that, we're giving attention to a part of the body that we're holding a lot of tension in. And so, yeah, so Janice says that her shoulders dropped. Yeah, mine did too. I actually felt like it's actually like my gut could expand, like as in the diaphragm, abdomen area could actually expand and take more breath in. So did anybody else notice that? So this is a great way to just like if you're feeling a lot of tension, again, another really great way just to just bringing all that, releasing all that tension. Lovely. Awesome. Yeah. Tight and tender. Yeah. So beautiful. Okay. So if there's anybody else, any questions about these little techniques, is that helpful for you? I hope it's helpful. I find them to be helpful because sometimes it's like you're just kind of in the middle of something and you're like, oh, what do I do? Or maybe it's like you can't even, we got the monkey mind thing going on. Just pick one. Any of those techniques will actually help you get present and in your body and be able to start relaxing. Awesome. Okay. Whew. Everybody just take a couple deep breaths in and out. Just check your body. Again, even after this, you may notice other things shifting and that as well. For me, after that, I've noticed that tension, some of the tension in the neck has now been released. So that's interesting. That last one helped to sort of shift the breathing, which helps to, it, again, was helping to move things. All right. So if there aren't any questions, let's go into doing some demos. So I'm not sure if I invited a couple people just because I was trying to see if I could make it work. Is there anybody who would like to be on a demo who is one of my friends on Facebook? Because I can try and forward you the link to come on the video with me. Let me know. And if not, that's okay. We can do it this way as well. It's just nicer for people to see it, but so Trish said next started popping and release. Oh, great. So you had that beautiful release. Amazing. That's awesome. Yay. Honestly, it's these small things that can have such a huge impact because we get so used to living our life in just feeling uncomfortable or in pain, and we kind of don't really pay attention to it. And so now it's like when we give it attention, or we do these things and we touch our bodies and appreciate the body, then what happens is our bodies actually can shift and we go, wow, I'm not actually feeling what I felt like 2 weeks ago. And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 weeks to even realize that we're not feeling the same symptoms that we were feeling before. Okay, so Roseanne is willing to. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try and forward this to you. I'm hoping this will work. And I'm going to forward this to you, Roseanne. Coming to you on, so I believe you have to be on your phone. So you do have to be on your phone. Great techniques. Thank you. You are very welcome. My pleasure. Okay, Roseanne, I'm going to send this to you. I'm hoping you're getting it. Let's see. Okay, so I just sent it to you on Messenger. Let's see if you're able to join me. Yay, that would be amazing. Probably the next time I'm gonna go live in StreamYard, I think, because I feel like StreamYard is might be a little bit better than Zoom. I'm on Zoom as well. I'm recording, but just trying to figure out like what actually works the best and gives me the most versatility. Okay, so she's on her phone. Okay, great. So you've got the link there. So let's just see if we can get you on now. Let me see. Send invite link to guest. Oh, okay. So there we go. Okay, so it says we're waiting for guest. I hope this is going to work. Okay, that's okay. We'll just give it a try. Hopefully it works. So I sent you a new one, so you could try with a new one because we're live now. So maybe things will change. I don't know. My dad is so funny because he calls himself an electric redneck. He's kind of a little bit of a redneck, but he knows how to use an iPhone now. you know? Okay, so it says that you are on your phone. Hello from your phone. I'm going to push a couple buttons to see if I can. No. Well, my friend, I'm not sure if this is going to work. Yeah, because I have if it's not allowing you, I'm not getting a message. So that's part of the problem is I'm not getting a message saying, hey, so-and-so is here to join now. So that's the part where I'm not really sure how to fix that. Okay, well, that's all right. We gave it a go. And apparently I need to watch some more videos to figure this out. Oh, anyway, that's okay. Not a problem. All right. So that's not going to work. But Roseanne, let's do a little session on you. So can you write in the chat? Tell us a little bit about what's happening or what you are um, wanting to sort of receive a little bit of healing for. And it can be about anything: mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, anything. It doesn't really matter. Not to me, anyway. For those who are watching later, I'll just say this: when we do the demo sessions, the way that this works is I'm tuning in, just like if I have Roseanne's phone number or her email address or her name on, or she's a friend of mine on Messenger, I have the ability to connect with her and to tune into her body and find out what her body actually is wanting to adjust or to initiate the healing process for, so that her body can come into greater harmony and balance. So just in the same way, we don't even understand how phones work or how Wi-Fi's work. Most of us do not understand that, but we believe it. We know it works because we can have conversations even like this across the world. And so, in the same way, I'm tuning into the consciousness or the awareness, the consciousness of Roseanne as a person, but also from a much higher perspective. So that's where we go into the intuitive, outside the box thinking. I'm being in flow. So I'm working with the feminine energy here to see what actually is asking to be um, shifted and moved. I'm not the healer. So, I think I can't take credit for the healing, but I can say that I'm helping to facilitate. We're collaborating together, we're working together for healing for her through her permission. And then the other aspect of that is as well that the body itself will initiate the healing process. Just like when you did these techniques, you don't have to even understand everything that they do. You just need to know what to do to initiate the healing, and your body does the stimulation, it does the resetting, it does the recalibrating, it does all of the work for you. So this is what is so beautiful about this type of energy work is, and I, like I said, I kind of do a combination of things, so it all depends on like what comes up. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you so that you can have a little bit of an understanding, especially if you're new to energy work. For many of you, you're not, and that's okay too. But we don't, as healers, even though I'm saying healer, as a practitioner, I don't take credit for the healing. I'm a part of it. I get to be a part of it. But the body actually is the healer. You are the healer. And we're working together to witness, to see, and to acknowledge whatever is asking to be shifted. And my consciousness or my beliefs and your beliefs are kind of coming together to create something new and something different. It opens up new possibilities. So this is beautiful work. Okay. So Roseanne says, healing for my very tight left side of my neck, please. Okay. So you said that you experienced some nausea when you were doing that technique. Are you still feeling, or one of the techniques, are you still feeling nausea? And if you could also let me know on a scale of 1 to 10, how uncomfortable is your very tight left side of your neck? So 1 being low, 10 being really high, like completely uncomfortable, like extreme. So just let us know so that we can kind of establish a bit of a baseline. And then also, Roseanne, if you can just kind of move slightly to the left and to the right, just gently to the point of tension. So don't force anything, but again, up and down and just checking. So I just want you to check and see. I'm so sorry for your loss, Janice. Thank you for sharing. Okay, we'll see what we have time for too, as well. So we should have some time here. Okay, so Roseanne says no nausea now. Okay, So while you're writing, I'm just going to kind of tune into your body. But if you can just do those little checks, let me know what your discomfort level is on a scale of 1 to 10. That would be great. So when she turns her neck to the left, a 5 out of 10. Okay. So probably more tension on that side. Okay. So I'm tuning into her body to find out what the priority is. I also have like a little mental or intuitive workshop that I bring my clients or bring people into. I like to see how they're coming in, because sometimes it's very different than, or sometimes it's related to what are they wanting, where are we going with things. Um, so Roseanne, you come in and it's like you're the first thing you say when you come out of the elevator into my workshop is you're like, I'm trying to create a plan. Like I'm trying to make a plan. And it's like what I'm hearing is a higher perspective is needed. So the neck represents the ability to have perspective. This is related to like turning our head as well. So that turns our head, the ability to be able to see from different viewpoints. And so the picture that I get, like what I'm hearing is like, I'm just hearing the words like as if you were saying, it's not really you, it's your higher self saying, just zoom out so you can get a bigger perspective. And so part of what we're releasing, so we are right, we're going to go right into that area. Sometimes we don't go there. Sometimes there's other things to adjust first. We're going to go right into the area of the left side of the neck where it's sore. Specifically, what's coming up is T3. So I'm not sure if that's where it is for you, but that's what's coming up to be adjusted. Interestingly enough, T3 goes, is connected to all the arm, the arms and the nerves and everything like that, all the way down into the hands. So T3 comes up, and the word that also comes up with this is, and again, no judgment. I'm just here to see it. It's like, what do we need to see? And so if this resonates with anybody else, you will also receive the healing and the shift because you're here. Our consciousness is mixed together. Roseanne is kind of our proxy person. So she's the person who's kind of like the person in the middle, but she's helping all of us to shift something. So all of us related to something in the neck, T3. And what we're releasing is actually the consciousness of stubbornness. So when the consciousness of stubbornness comes up, this is about letting go of a limiting belief related to stubbornness. So what's funny is I'm hearing you in my Mindscape workshop going, I am stubborn, and stubbornness is needed sometimes. So what I'm getting is actually that the stubbornness is serving a purpose, and there's a part of you or something related to a belief that says that you shouldn't be stubborn, if that makes sense. So this is where, like, again, everything is a perspective and can be seen as a gift or a point of weakness as well, right? So this is actually about letting go of a limiting belief related to stubbornness that actually is serving a purpose, and this is related to creating a plan. So it's a plan of some sort, if that makes sense. So this is connecting into the stomach. So again, the nausea stuff is kind of like I felt like was the preliminary stuff because I kept hearing like when we did the technique, I kept hearing sick to your stomach. So this is connecting into the stomach, which supports our ability to digest and process. So not just food physically, although that is part of it, but our emotions, process projects and situations, and just processing life in general. And so now we're actually also connecting that into the lungs. And as we connect into the lungs, we're also acknowledging and bringing balance to the emotion of grief. So grief supports us when it's healthy to be able to let go and move on. But if grief is unhealthy, then we might not hang on to anything and would just keep moving forward, or we'll hang on to everything and it keeps us from moving forward. So this is actually bringing balance to the emotion of grief so that you can let go with more ease. And I just heard you in Mindscape go, ah, right? It's like taking a deep breath. And what's coming in is the consciousness of acceptance. So acceptance is about being able to take in life, take things as they are. Doesn't mean that we resolve to stay that way, but acceptance brings a greater sense of peace and relaxation within the body and the mind. So just take a couple deep breaths. You just place your hand on your heart. So we're connecting this into the heart chakra. And I'm just going to tap as if you were right here in front of me. I'm tapping over your head, heart, and navel. Nice little shift there. And what the tapping does is it basically tells the brain, hey, brain, we're doing something different. We're installing a new program, uninstalling stuff. The heart helps with storing the changes and circulating that information. And then the intestinal area, or the gut, actually supports our ability, our body's ability to fully integrate everything. So think of this as like a little upgrade. And everybody can just take a couple deep breaths. Nice little shift there. So I'm just going to do one other little thing that's coming up, and then I'll have you check your neck. We're going to do a pancreatic reflex point release as well. So what this does, this technique actually helps the pancreas to balance blood sugar levels. So again, there's a lot around balance and adaptability related to that's connected to the pancreas and the subconscious mind as well. The pancreas is all about the sweetness of life, right? So if I'm struggling to take that in an area or all areas, then sometimes people will have diabetes, for example. And I've heard somebody say actually the words diabetes is I'm dying to beat myself up. So I'm not saying you have that, but I'm just bringing that up because that came to my mind. So a lot of times, these health issues can really be indicating some things, and diabetes often is about that the feeling of life being sucked right out of me, that there's no more joy. It's difficult to bring in the sweetness of life. It's difficult to bring balance, right? And this is about adaptation and the sweetness of life. So we bring that in. This also helps to support the female cycle. So especially anybody who might be PMSing right now. And the point is actually kind of just under the left, is actually under, well, it's on both sides, but kind of where, where your bra line is, where the wire is. And this is where we get some interruption with the electrical activity, is because wire bras may actually cause disruption, and that reflex point may not be supporting the pancreas and the digestive system as well as it needs to. So we're just going to do that as well. So I'm just going to have everyone, you can do this together. So you're going to take your right hand, put it underneath your armpit, and right where your little pinky finger is, and about an inch forward, you just kind of rub in there, like just a gentle little rub, and it might feel tender and sore. And if it is tender and sore, it probably means like you really need that point. It's kind of between the ribs there. So just like this, about that far down and about an inch forward. And you're just going to gently rub there. You don't want to hurt anything. All we're doing is we're stimulating, and I'm going to do the other side. Take a couple nice deep breaths, and we're tapping. We all probably really needed that one. Who doesn't need a little more balance in their life? This technique also helps to balance left right mind to left right body as well. So it supports coordination of the mind, our thoughts, our will, our emotions, all of those things, our consciousness, and the body together. So you just relax your hands and just check and see how you're doing. So Roseanne says you yawned just before I sensed a shift. Yeah. Now discomfort 3 out of 10 when turning the neck to the left. So we didn't do a whole lot. This is not even a full session. This is just kind of like a little mini session to see how can we help, improve the pain. I definitely feel some tension in here, like it feels tense. But my sense with that is, again, we're stirring. It's kind of like stirring things up a little bit so they can be released. So your body knows how to do that really, really well. So choose one of the techniques that I taught earlier tonight, do it before bed. That's going to help you with sleep. Again, these techniques help to reduce tension, they can reduce pain, they can get the blood, nerve, lymph, all of that moving and flowing, right? So beautiful. Okay, so Roseanne just let me know, is there anything else? Turning to the right more now, so you've got more movement and mobility to the right. Beautiful. Great. Awesome. Anybody else? So I'll just let you write if there's anything else you want to write there, Roseanne. And is there anybody else who would like a little demo healing session? Turning to the left is a 2 out of 10. So she was at a 5 when we started, and this is what took like maybe 5 to 7 minutes, and she's now down to a 2 out of 10. So you see how these things are connected. Our emotions are connected. Our beliefs are, connected. All of these things are connected into the physical body. When we shift one thing, then other things start shifting as well. Okay, so Janice, you have type 2 now, but it's getting better with diet. Awesome. Great. And you also mentioned you've got some grief and guilt related to your son who passed away. Okay. So are you also in any other physical pain, Janice? Just let me know. So I've had people when I do these sessions, whether it be like this on the internet and live in person, many times people who have shoulder injuries are great examples because we can have various things going on, and I've had several people where like they couldn't even hardly move their arm like this, and by the end of the session they could move like this, and people gasp. Actually, they're like, right, because they can see before their very eyes how much movement and mobility, excuse me, that a person has. Just so you know, burping is normal too. So if you're burping or you have flatulence, like you have gas, any of those things, tummy gurgles, tingles, all those things are ways that our body is actually releasing stuff. So anyway, so what I'm saying though is there's just so much healing possible. And I had one person, they were in several car accidents and had like lots going on in their whole right side. And so she was in a live session with me in Cochrane, with a group. And my goodness, the releasing of trauma from one of the particular accidents that sort of was one of the first ones, that had caused so much pain and tension and even coldness, like temperature changes and things like that in her body. And my goodness, the shift that took place. So she had a beautiful emotional release, a physical release actually taking place of, and including some shaking. And shaking can happen because again, it's a way that the body releases anxiety. If you look at animals, they shake when they're in fear or feeling anxious. They're shaking, and that's a way that their body is actually instinctively managing stress. We actually don't move a lot anymore. We're quite sedentary. So moving, shaking our hands, even just like voluntary through the day, dancing, anything like that will actually stimulate the body intentionally to reduce stress. So you guys are getting all kinds of stuff here tonight. So this is so much fun. Awesome. Okay, so Janice says that she's also feeling a bit stiff. Okay. So Janice, I just check your neck and shoulders. We'll just start with that. Okay. So just check your neck and shoulders up and down, left and right, just to the point of tension. Don't injure yourself. You can check your arms as well and just kind of see like how does it feel to like move my arm upward, move my arm, to the side like this, right? Both sides. If you want, you can stand up and check your back, all of that as well. So just take a moment and just give us a little idea of where things are at. And as you're doing that, I'm just going to kind of tune in. So with your permission, I'm just going to tune in, and I'm just going to bring you into Mindscape here. Roseanne's leaving now, and we're bringing Janice in. Mhm. So Janice, you're coming into Mindscape actually, from the elevator. So the elevator comes into my workshop, and you're crawling on the floor actually. So you're crawling, and there is a lot of grief there. So you're coming in weeping. and there's some grief and definitely some, as you mentioned, the guilt, the feeling. So that's kind of up front. It's coming right out, in front as being the priority. And the words that I'm hearing is like it's sucking the life out of me. So it's the feeling of like I can't breathe. um, that it's like life is being kind of sucked out of me, that kind of thing. So there's a feeling of you sort of losing some of your life force energy, the ability to move into a space of resilience. And I mean, grief can, grief comes like this. I mean, I went through something and it's taken me, for one thing, it was taken me, I'm 3 years and I'm mostly through that now. And 2 years for another situation that I'm pretty much through now. But again, it comes in waves and it's different for everybody. So just be really gentle with yourself. So Janice says her left arm is tender and your neck is tender and low back is tender. Okay. So when you say tender, can you give me like an idea on a scale of like 1 to 10? What level of sort of like that sensitivity or tenderness are you sort of noticing? Thanks for being here, everybody. This is fun. I really love this. I love this work. I love watching and seeing healings and miracles every day. Like it's almost daily. Beautiful. Okay, so about a 6 out of 10 in terms of some tenderness and discomfort. Okay, so I'm just bringing you into Mindscape, my mental workshop, and like I said, you're kind of just crawling. And when I ask you, like, what do you need? You're just like, I just want somebody to take care of me. Um, and it's like you just want a blanket and a little pillow. And so I'm just covering you up with a blanket and a pillow, and there's some water there just for you to rest. And so at this point, you kind of just sort of are falling asleep. And so what that's telling me is sort of there's a part of you that's just really needing nurture. And then also what this does when we sleep, because when I have people sleeping actually during energy sessions or healing sessions, at times if they're on my table, and when they sleep, this actually can support us in bypassing the conscious mind because our conscious mind can get in the way trying to figure things out and be all analytical and everything like this. And so it just so oftentimes if a person sleeps, it's because they're just like, it gives me with their permission, gives me the freedom to be able to help them shift whatever needs to be shifted within the subconscious mind. And the conscious mind is out of the way. So it's beautiful. So that's kind of like what's happening right now. That's what I'm seeing happening. And then the next sort of thing is you need to go to the bathroom, which again shows me some releasing taking place. It's the releasing just by actually us observing you being nurtured. So it's the nurturing, the gentleness, all of that coming in. So that's the energy we're bringing that's coming into the session. And again, sessions can be so different, right? We could be like, we're connecting this part to this part to this part to this part, or we might be just kind of like this, like how we are right now, just kind of in my mental workshop, and we're working intuitively with the body and giving it what it needs in order for it to be able to heal. So now there is a focus coming up here related to the stomach again, related to stomaching life. And what I'm hearing you say in my little workshop is, I don't know if I can do that anymore. So I'm not sure what that's about specifically. I may not need to know. Um, do I need to know? I need to know, but not everybody needs to know. So I'm just going to tune in and we'll see what that is. Okay, so we have that. So I've just seen that. So I'm witnessing that. I don't have to share that with everybody. And so just a couple other things that are coming up, but I will not share with everybody else. So just give me a moment. I want you, Janice, just to take a couple deep breaths. I'm tuning into the body and the mind and your higher consciousness. And so the next thing that's being seen is actually your higher self comes in and is looking at you laying down, and she's like, she's just having a really hard time letting go. And because you feel responsible. So there's feelings of responsibility, which leads to what's coming up with this is a shifting or letting go of limiting beliefs related to expectations and judgment. So as we're shifting this, what it does is letting go of limiting beliefs related to expectations of ourselves or others allows us to step into a place of spontaneity and less inhibited behavior. So more freedom. And the same, similar with judgment, when we let go of limiting beliefs related to judgment, what that does is it helps the body and it actually brings the body and the mind to a place of peace. So it helps us to let go of stress. It de-stresses. So this is like the other thing coming up is like letting go of the criticalness, all of the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, all of those things. And again, I see your higher self sort of standing over you, just observing, and really noticing how tired and how exhausted you are. There's a real acknowledgement. And I feel like your higher self, this is really communicating. It's like, I see you. I see you, and that is enough. So the higher self connected to God, connected to everything, all that is, because that's really who you are, is your pure consciousness. So your consciousness is saying to you, even if nobody else sees you, your consciousness is saying, or your higher self says, I see you. And I feel like there's other people watching, maybe right now or later. You need to hear this too. So it's the same thing. Your higher self saying, I see you. I see you. And that is enough, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't that enough? Not in a mean way, but like all we want a lot of times is to be seen. And it's like that need to be seen is actually where we're not seeing something within ourselves. So your higher self saying to you, I see you. I see you fully as you are, all of your intentions, everything you've done, with no judgment, but just pure love and acceptance. So just put your hand on your stomach. Just take a couple deep breaths. And I'm just going to tap on your back because you're still laying there. You're sleeping. So I'm just tapping on your back. You're going to hold your stomach. A couple deep breaths. Oh, that's interesting. So as this is happening, I'm watching, all of a sudden you go, you take this big breath, almost like you're just coming up for air. So it's sort of like, again, it's like just being sort of revived almost in a way. And so now what I'm seeing is actually like, it's like somebody's doing CPR on you. You just relax your hands. They're doing CPR. And this is a focus actually on the heart now. It's about the energy of the heart. So the heart has an electromagnetic field. And we everything is an electromagnetic field, but the heart, it can be measured, and I believe it goes out to 12 or 16 feet. I can't remember the exact amount. When it's really healthy, when the heart chakra is really healthy, then it also creates a level of resilience and supports our immune system response. Our immune system is stronger. Our electromagnetic field is stronger. That means that we have, so what's coming in is a balancing as well of the Wei Qi. So it's the heart chakra connecting into the Wei Qi, which is that the electromagnetic field or the aura. So this is to strengthen and widen, like if you imagine the color green and yellow being brought like as wide as possible around you, kind of like an egg or a bubble. The energy of that helps to support the Wei Qi, or the electromagnetic field, protects us from injury, it protects us from illness, it protects us from changes in climate like hot, cold, wet, damp. It protects us from unhealthy electromagnetic frequencies, as well as like other people's emotional or like psychic interaction. We pick up on other people's stuff all the time, half the time without even realizing it. And so what that technique does, this Wei Chi technique from the Body Talk formula, is actually supporting the recalibration. And the word that comes in with this is the letting go of limiting beliefs related to resistance. Again, that word stubborn comes in as well. Sometimes stubbornness actually can serve us. And so it's the what's coming in with this around stubbornness for you, Janice, is the stubbornness to not lose the real you, who you really are. So again, this is letting go of what you feel like, maybe you've judged yourself as being stubborn or other people have, but there's an element of that stubbornness that actually is serving you. That resistance is serving a purpose so that you don't lose who you are in the midst of everything you're going through. Wow, I feel like this is really powerful. And this is a message again for everyone, you see. You see how you have one person here, but there's many messages that come through for all of us, right? I'm receiving just as much as everybody else is, even though I'm leading this. So again, this is about not losing who you are and hanging on to the authentic self while letting go of the other parts of you that are no longer a fit. And so, what I'm seeing happening actually as we're moving through this process is now in my workshop, you're actually getting up, but it's like you've got layers of like, it's like patched clothing, it's all patched. And there's kind of like this set of like black wings, like it kind of looks like wings. And there's all this stuff kind of beginning to be thrown off. And underneath that is you with wings, like a human angel, being in this beautiful, and the ability to take flight. And so it's like you've just received your wings. So you don't even know yet that you can fly. But it's like just clearing out all the clutter and the things that have sort of been weighing you down. This is now being removed, and now you're stepping into the authenticity of who you are, which is you're meant to take flight. You're not meant to be on the floor forever. So now you're standing and you're laughing and you're having a good laugh because you're like slapping your knee. And it's like, I just see like a lot of, you're just really enjoying yourself. And then you're ready to, you step out onto the balcony and away you go. And initially you're afraid that you're going to fall, but actually you're able to catch yourself and to fly up. So you go on this really, really beautiful flight. You fly to the sun, toward the sun, and you're feeling that feeling of warmth and rejuvenation and that feeling of refreshment. So just take a moment and tune into your body and just let's just see where things are at. So you were at a 6 or 7 before. Let us know, how are you feeling? How are you feeling emotionally as well? And while she's typing, is there somebody else? I have time for one more, so we could do one more if there's somebody who would like a little mini session. Like I said, everybody gets it, because whatever your body, you're here for a reason. We're here as a group for a reason, as a group of conscious beings. And so the beauty of this is you're going to get whatever you need. It's going to be tailored specifically to you as well. So that's amazing, it's just really incredible. So many of you will have breakthroughs around very similar things. And you see how the theme, two different people, two very different situations, but there's a little bit of a theme coming through that as well. So that's really beautiful. Okay. So let me know how you're doing, Janice. Check your neck as well. Just see what the movement, your arms, that kind of thing. Check and see how that's feeling. How are you feeling emotionally? I feel like you've had a bit of a release. You might actually feel really tired. Sometimes people feel really tired because these techniques help release stuff. So you may feel a little bit tired. If not tonight, maybe a little bit tomorrow. That's okay. That would be normal, because we just put your body into rest and restore, rest, rejuvenate, heal, right? So parasympathetic gets the body out of that sort of fight flight response. So that's what those techniques that we were doing, that's what those do. They get us out of fight flight and into rest and restore, rest and heal. Okay, so Janice says, feel lighter now, a 2 or 3. Thank you, as I didn't feel like I deserved to enjoy my life. Yeah, yeah, I hear you. It's not easy. Yeah. So, so Janice, what was coming through the very first thing was just to be really gentle with yourself and to nurture, what is needed. You're processing a lot and you have permission to enjoy your life. That although the experience of loss is great, that it is not, you're not meant to be punished for the rest of your life. So grief is not meant to be a life sentence. Grief is an emotion that signals something that says, hey, it's time to let go and to move on as well, right? So let the grief come when it does, but then also allow yourself to experience joy and to do the things that really um, bring you some pleasure. Be good to you. You deserve that. Your son, no matter what the situation was, your son being on the other side would want that for you, no matter what. Because for him, even from a place of higher consciousness, he also had a journey to go through as well in all of that. And we don't understand how all that works. And there's nothing that could make anything better on this side of earth, but from an infinity or infinite spiritual perspective, he would have a higher perspective of that now because he would see things from a much, again, talking about perspective, right? A much higher perspective than the one that he would have had on this earth. Many blessings to you, Janice. Okay. So, uh, Roseanne, feeling a sensation inside your left ear. Oh, that's interesting because I had your inner ear coming up earlier. I didn't say it because I forgot it. Things were coming up. So that's interesting. So there could be some things shifting there. I feel like that was kind of part of what that was the nausea stuff coming in as well for you, Roseanne. Okay, so Trish says grief around first husband not being able to save him from drowning. I feel like I just gave a little message there about again, it doesn't take away or diminish the true human, experience of grief, of loss. Um, okay, so Trish, just check your body and notice. Just notice, what do you notice when you think about that experience? What do you feel? I mean, I know you mentioned grief, but what do you feel in your body? Do you have tension in a particular area when you tune in? Where is that grief? You guys are amazing, by the way. This is big work. Janice says, I know we all have a journey. It's hard to accept on earth. Once again, thank you. It is hard to accept. That's understandable. We want to, the goal is that if we can be the observer, if we can move through things in a way that gives us our power back as well. So, because we don't want to live within that state of sort of victimhood. But we all have times in our lives when we are the victim, but we don't want to remain there. And so this is part of it, is permission, Janice, to come out of the victim state of being into a higher level of consciousness, which gives you your power back because it allows you to have a healthy sense um, of control, but not in a like it basically what happens over time. The more we can do this as quickly as possible, is we become the observer. So we acknowledge, we move through the emotion, we allow the healing to come. When we can become the observer of our life, if I took a step back from Crystal and looked at Crystal, what do I think about her? How would I feel about her? How do I see Crystal? You get a whole other perspective that allows you to feel and to become more empowered. So yeah, that's all I'll say about that. It could go on about that for a long time, but again, the human experience is full of the ups and downs and the emotional piece. The goal through this, part of the goal is to experience all of those emotions and to be able to look at them from that higher perspective. What would just pure consciousness that is you say about that whole situation? Because they would have a completely different take than just the avatar or the body that you're in right now and experiencing that. And so sometimes there's deep wisdom that actually can come in through our higher level of consciousness if we just sort of detach from that. Okay, so Trish says, okay, so there's pain on the right side of the stomach. Okay, lower right. Yep. After he died, I had gallbladder and appendix surgery a year apart. And okay, so that's kind of all on the right side. Hey, that's interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to tune in. So we're looking. So the reason why I asked is like, where are you feeling uncomfortable? The grief may actually be still sitting, sort of right there, or some residual stuff. I know you do your work, so. Um, but again, something is ready to be seen in another way, another layer. So just take a couple deep breaths, and I'm just inviting Trish into Mindscape. This is interesting. You're coming in as the affectionate, beautiful black cat, just like meow, wanting affection. They kind of like rub up on the leg, like give me some attention. Not in a bad way, but just like really affectionate. So Trish says, I don't think I grieved his death. I have grieved many others, but my kids were 1 and 4. I was 24, and I think I pushed it down. Okay. Yeah, understandable. Again, sometimes you just got to survive, right? And so these things can come up later on. Okay, so I'm just going back to the black cat. You just turn into yourself. And what's really interesting is you sit on my red couch. So I have a red couch kind of in the middle of my office, and that represents the spark of life. It's connected to our purpose, our sense of purpose. So that's the first thing that's coming up related to sort of what you're talking about is the spark of life. Um, and you kind of just have your hands on your head, right? So it's sort of like I'm trying to like figure out like what to do, what am I going to do? That kind of sort of being in that sort of space. Yeah, and what I'm hearing as well as in there, as I'm hearing you say, I have no time to grieve, no time to grieve. So, so it's interesting because I can hear myself talking to you, going, "Okay, it's okay, it's okay." And I go, "Are you ready now?" And you go, "A little bit." So sort of like it's just like sort of unraveling just pieces as, in a very gentle, very slow way. So what's interesting is grief is showing up as a yellow, which is again showing up in the solar plexus chakra. So solar plexus is asking to be balanced, and as we balance the solar plexus, within that is the balancing of grief. So again, grief being a signal to help us let go and move forward, the ability to move forward. But it's like you're clutching it. It's sort of like, no, this is like my safety blanket. This is what I know. This is all I've known. A lot of loss. So there's an acknowledgement or a deep part where there's a sense of safety because it's familiar. Did you say you're in your 20s? Because I'm seeing like you're in your 20s right now. You were 24 and you pushed it down. Okay. I was just wondering because I'm like, you just turned into like about a 20-year-old somewhere in there. And it was like, it's like she's hanging on to grief and there's something else there. There's grief and some anger. Resentment is actually the word that comes up with that. So it's letting go of limiting beliefs related to resentment that are no longer serving as well. And the result of that, what I'm seeing happening is we're shifting out of some of the resentment The resentment is resistance, that also. So again, resistance is not a bad thing. Resistance keeps us safe and actually protects us, even if it's no longer helping us, right? Resistance does have or has had a purpose in our life at different points. So this is kind of that resentment resistance piece that is just needing to be seen. And again, that word nurture comes in. So there's a need for the 20-year-old to be nurtured. I have the word experience coming in. Sorry, like somebody's knocking, but I can't tell where. The word experience coming in. This is really interesting because when I said experience, I was hearing this knocking. So it's like something is knocking at the door of your heart related to experience, connected to grief, resentment. Just take a couple deep breaths. So, what I'm seeing happening is we're connecting this into the lower lungs. So, right down into the deep bronchial area on the left hand side. And we're connecting that with the full right lung. So, that means that these two parts, this lower left and the full right lung, is wanting to communicate. So, we're enhancing communication and initiating the healing process. And it's being defined by acceptance. So, acceptance helps us to be able, when we're in that state of acceptance, it allows us to move into a state of peace because we're accepting or we're taking life in. So this is where, like, you may even sometimes feel some tightness in the lungs or things like this, or you can't get a full breath out. But acceptance is usually on the in breath. So if that feels uncomfortable in some way or there's a bit of tension there, then it might just be like the body goes, my plate is full, I can't take anything more on. So there's this just acceptance. So the words that come in with this is, again, so we're looking at the 20-year-old and and I just lost it. It was related to, it's okay. I've already seen it, so if I've seen it, it's fine. I just don't remember what it was, but uh, it's just the allowance of like what is, that it is what it is. It's just the full allowance of what it is. At this point, you kind of start dancing around in my workshop, and it's sort of like a half dance, as if you're like going around in a circle and doing this, and you kind of have a smile on your face, but it's the feeling of like I'm putting it on. It's not, it's partial joy, but it's not complete joy. So it's sort of like I'm entertaining and I'm trying to be happy, but deep inside there's still, that feeling of grief. So we're just acknowledging that feeling. And when the acknowledgement happens, you just kind of sit down on the floor and you kind of just are in this space of deflating. So it's like feeling deflating and feel, yeah, just being deflated. And I'm asking you in this space, I'm like, is there anything else that is needing to be seen? Because I'm like in this space of like, I'm really observing, I'm seeing you, and it allows permission for you to fully deflate. And it's like you're talking about like needing to bring in more joy. So what I'm hearing is change the story. So the other piece that comes in with this, Trish, and this is something maybe for you to think about, and maybe you already have as well, is this version of you observing you as the 20 or 24-year-old that you were in this space of being, of just really permission to be deflated, that there is a new revelation of truth coming that relates to how this situation has really served you. in your life. And I'm sure you can see some of those things. It's not that, I mean, it was a tragedy, right? But it's not just like, oh, I'm just like trying to see the good. I'm just trying to see the good. This is not about that. This is like really like something about that whole situation has allowed you to create yourself in a way that has gotten you to where you are. So that's, there's a survival element of that. But there's something about the old story that is no longer in alignment for you. And whatever is that old story, it's like you have the ability to be able to look at it and go, okay, so, okay, this is what I experienced, and this has been the story that I've told myself. But that's not all completely true. So from your higher consciousness, or the part of you that sees from the higher perspective, there is something, another truth about that will bring a deeper alignment for you. And I just see you going like move, like all of a sudden, like you're being propelled forward. So something about that situation that was true, was the story, is no longer going to be an aligned story, if that makes sense. I'm not sure how else to explain it. Um, so yeah, feels like just sit with that, but kind of detach from you and like take 10 steps back and look at you. Look at 20-year-old or 24-year-old you that was going through that whole experience. I feel like there's also an element of this where the grief will shift really quickly for you. That there's something about you really being propelled forward as a result of that, because there's a new truth that's more aligned to the new story of Trish and what Trish and her children even experienced. Love that. Okay. So I'm just seeing what else. Again, you're dancing around, but it's different. Your energy is different. So even just in the acknowledgement of something related to what we've just talked about in the session, there's a shifting of of true energy and joy coming in as well. I feel like typically you're a pretty joyful person, so it's not that. It's just it's the need to allow yourself to deflate and then to reinflate. So there's a rebuilding taking place. And I'm just getting the word recalibrating. So I'm seeing like your body, like this spinning motion, recalibrating your body to allow for, a new level of alignment to come in. Take a couple deep breaths. And I'm just tapping over head, heart, and navel. Whew. Nice little shift there. So Trish says, interesting, I had asthma after he died. Oh, that is interesting with the lung stuff coming up. Yeah. Truly served me and created who I am today. Yeah. But there's a new alignment. So I feel like within 2 weeks, I feel like there's a whole other alignment that is really going to propel you forward. Awesome. Okay, let me know how you're feeling. How is that? How's your body? You guys are awesome. Check in with the pain. You had pain on the right side of the stomach, the lower right. Are you still feeling the pain or discomfort? Trish says, it does make sense. And I felt it was an old story, but something is stirring up so I can totally shed it. Yeah, that's kind of like what I'm seeing. That's what I'm feeling. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. So while Trish is just writing there and letting us know how she's feeling, how are the others? How's Janice and how is Roseanne doing? Thank you so much for being my demo people tonight. Let me know how you're doing. If you have any questions, feel free to pop your questions in. And yeah, if you guys want a session, you want a private session, I'd be happy to do a session for you. And I could give you a 10% discount. That would be fine. So if that works for you too, then reach out to me. www.newbeginningshw.ca. I will pop that in the chat here. And yeah, if you want to get your ticket for the intuition code course, that's going to cover like a ton of stuff. So if you need a reset, or you're a beginner, or you're somewhere in the middle, it's going to be awesome and amazing for everyone. So there'll be something in there for everybody, which is really beautiful. Trish says recalibrating. Yeah, beautiful. Wonderful. Well, thank you everyone for joining. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And the beautiful thing of this video is you'll be able to watch it again, so you can share the techniques with other people. And the techniques will not harm you. So I mean, you could do them every day. They will not harm you. If there's harm, it's because you're tapping too hard, or pushing really hard, and you don't need to do that. So have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Janice says she's feeling better. Keep on trucking. Yeah, just let some of that joy back into your life. Permission to be happy again. Permission to have moments of happiness, whatever season you're in right now. Awesome. Okay, everyone. Well, you take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And we will talk to you soon. Bye for now. I'm not sure how to turn this off. Oh, there we go.